All right, everyone, happy Monday. This is the 187 District Court, or these are the rules for the 187 District Court. To all of the inmates at the jail, you are not allowed to use the chat box. If you use the chat box, you will be sent back to your cell. You're also not to try to pick up dates while you're on this Zoom. This is not the Bachelor, this is not the Bachelorette, so don't try to pick up anyone. Number 3, for all the attorneys, if you have a plea bargain agreement, put it in the chat box. You're going to put it in the chat box to the court coordinator. She's listed on the screen as Ferguson coordinator. No matter how small the agreement is, send it to her. No one is excused until I excuse you. To all the attorneys, I'm going to call your name. This is the order in which you'll appear. Attorneys, if you have to Zoom to another court, if you Zoom to another court and your name is called and you are not here, you will be put to the end of the line. Carl Alexander, Leo Gonzalez, Roland Garcia, Raymond Martinez, Cornelius Cox, Anton Hayek, Ronald Ortman. Is there any defense attorney whose name I missed?
Me, Your Honor, Valerie Fisher. I'm here for Sonia Hernandez.
Okay. Anyone else? All right. Next, I'm going to open the breakout rooms. No one is to go to a breakout room unless I specifically assign you. Even though when I open the breakout rooms, it's going to invite you to go to one, do not go. To attorneys, I'm going to be sending you to a breakout room. A prosecutor will meet you there. Prosecutors will have the ability to go to different breakout rooms. So patiently wait. Think of it as a doctor's office. When you go to the doctor's office and a nurse calls you to the back, you're expecting to see the doctor right away, but they put you in a room to check your weight and blood pressure. That's the way it happens here. So just be patient. So the first person up is Carl Alexander. Carl Alexander, who do you have?
Morning, Judge. I have Terrence Scott, but I did a little research this morning, Judge, and I was actually the lead family violence prosecutor when he was placed on community supervision, which means I authorized his plea bargain. So
okay. All right. All right, Mr. Scott. Terrence Scott, are you here? All right, we're going to see about, I'm sorry.
I see him there. He's having difficulty getting off of mute.
Okay. Norma, we'll need a new attorney for Terrence Scott. Mr. Scott?
Okay.
Yes. Just be patient. We'll sign another attorney for you. Mr. Alexander, you are excused.
Thank you, Judge.
Unless you have anyone else with you.
No, that's it.
All right, thank you. Mr. Scott, we'll get you another attorney for you. All right, the next person up is Leo Gonzalez.
Good morning, Judge. I have Sonia Rodriguez. I'm sorry, Hernandez, I believe.
Sonia Hernandez. All right,
Yes,
is this criminal trial division?
Yes, ma'am.
And what I see is it is for a PR bond. I'll send you to a breakout room. The state will confer with you to see whether or not they'll agree to the PR bond, and we'll go from there. And I'll send you to breakout room number 1.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Roland Garcia.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. Who do you have?
I have an add-on, Donald Gilliland. This was added on as a hearing on the violation report. I got notice of this last week. I think it was last week. I don't see my client listed as having appeared, and I have not had contact with him to advise him to be here.
Okay. If you want to see if you can get in touch with your client, I give everyone until 10:30.
Okay. So you want me to check back in at 10:30?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, the next person up is Raymond Martinez.
Good morning, Judge.
I have Emmanuel Liao this morning on a request to set bond. We conferred about it briefly last week. I don't know if you wanted me to confer with the state before we address it.
Yes, let's do that. I'll send you to breakout room number 2. And is this criminal trial division or family violence?
Trial division, Judge.
All right, I'll send you to breakout room number 2. A prosecutor will meet you there. Cornelius Cox?
Judge, can you check your chat?
Yes, I see it.
Morning, Judge.
Yes, who do
Okay,
you have?
he's on Devontae Govan. He's here. I see him in the
All right, is it criminal trial division or family violence?
criminal trial.
All right, I'll send you to breakout room number 3. A prosecutor will meet you there.
Thank you, Judge.
Sure. Mr. Toshi,
Morning, Judge.
good morning. You've been appointed to represent Terrence Scott. He has a motion to revoke.
Okay.
To the probation, could you send a copy of the motion to revoke to Mr. Toshi, please?
Can I get his email in the chat, please?
All right, if you could put it in the chat to CLO. And Mr. Toshi, I'm going to send you to breakout room number 4, and your
Okay.
client will meet you there.
All right.
And Mr. Scott, where are you? Terrence Scott.
Right here,
I'm sorry, could you say again, please?
right here.
He's
Thank you.
outside, Judge.
All right, I'm going to send you to breakout room number 4. Mr. Toshi will meet you there, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, the next person up is Anton Hayek.
I'm here, Your Honor.
Yes, who do you have? You're muted, Mr. Hayek.
Mario Morales.
Mario Morales,
Yes.
can you tell me, is that criminal trial division or family violence?
Family violence.
All right, I'll send you to breakout room number 5. A prosecutor will meet you there.
Why, thank you.
You're welcome. Ronald Ortman.
Yes, right here.
Yes, who do you have?
I have Ross Cuco. It's CUOCO, and it's a motion for a bond modification.
All right, and is this, let me see, this is criminal trial division?
It should be, yes.
All right, I'll send you to breakout room number 6. A prosecutor will meet you there to confer.
Okay, it was Marcus last time. I don't know if he's still on this or not.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome. Valerie Fisher?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, who do you have?
Glenny Hernandez. He has,
You said Glenn Hernandez?
yes, Glenn Hernandez. He has another attorney as well on a family violence case, Stephen Nicholas, I believe. I'm not sure that he's present, but we were conferring with family violence last setting.
All right, I'll see you to breakout room number 7. And Norma, can you see if Stephen Nichols could be brought in, please?
Yes, ma'am. He said he'll be here in a few minutes, Judge.
All right, thank you. All right, Leo Gonzalez, you're back on Sonia Hernandez.
Yes, Your Honor. I believe last week you considered a PR bond on this particular case and denied it at that time. At
Yes.
least, and so the bond is set at currently $3,500. I don't know if you want to re-review that again, see if considering it at that time, but it is a first-degree felony. So I might just have a moment with my client. But
All
other
right.
than that,
All right, is there any agreement on the bond amount or any agreement on the PR bond? No. Or
No,
yes?
Judge.
no, Your Honor.
All right, I'm looking at her criminal history. And we have an out-of-county case from Laredo for transporting aliens with no disposition and prohibited substance in a correctional facility with no disposition. And then we have some misdemeanor cases in this. Is there an agreement to a bond reduction or no?
No, Judge.
All right, can anyone tell me this possession with intent to deliver 4 to 200 grams? Is it more towards 4 grams or does anyone know?
I can pull that up for you, Judge.
All right, Stephen Nichols, I'm going to send you to breakout room with the other attorney, and she's in breakout room number 7 for Glenn Hernandez.
Okay.
Just one moment.
Good morning.
Good morning. All right, any update, Jordan?
Not quite. Just a second. I do not see a lab result. So let me give you the gross. Looks like the gross is 5.2.
Okay.
I'm not sure why the lab results is not back yet. It's from February 13th, so I guess we're probably a week or two away from that, if I had to guess.
Okay.
But obviously closer to the 4, especially once.
And Your Honor, that also goes. There's there's a co-defendant in this case, so that gross is between 2 individuals.
All right. Is that correct, State? 2 individuals?
Just a moment, Judge. I show. Yes, I've got a Robin Hernandez and a Sonia Hernandez. And yes, they're charging each with 2.6 grams. So if we intake decide, that would make it a 1 to 4. However, obviously we could charge both with the whole amount. I'd have to do a little closer analysis of the case to decide what the ultimate decision would be.
All right. And what's the co-defendant's name again, please?
Robin, Robin Hernandez.
All right. This is what the court's going to do. I'll grant your motion for a PR bond, but there's going to be full GPS and there's to be no contact with Robert Hernandez. And Ms. Hernandez, if you miss, I need you to unmute yourself.
She's trying to do it.
All right, Ms. Hernandez, can you hear me? Stop, don't touch it anymore.
Shoot.
Let it go. Don't get your hands off the keyboard.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, I need you to understand something. I'm going to grant your motion for a PR bond because I am reviewing your criminal history. And a lot of it, it doesn't show up that there's been any disposition on any of it. Court doesn't know what happened. The state doesn't know what happened with regards to this transporting aliens and this prohibited substance in a correctional facility. Just says no disposition. So the only other prior you have are 2 misdemeanors, and 1 state jail felony, and that was possession less than a gram. So I'm going to grant your PR bond. However, it's going to be on full GPS, and there's to be no contact with Robert Hernandez. If you do not appear for court, if you miss a court date, we're going to have a problem. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hernandez, do you have all your client's contact information if she's released from custody?
Yes, Your Honor, I do have all her contact information. And if I can just have a moment before we get off, just to make sure that I have a background.
Yes. Ms. Hernandez, I'm going to send you to breakout room number 1. Mr. Gonzalez, if you go to 1, and when you finish speaking with Ms. Hernandez, she needs to come back to the main room so she can be excused.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, James Toshi.
Judge, I still haven't received the information on Mr. Scott. I did send.
Sorry, I'll send that right now.
Okay.
Thank you, Rebecca. And Judge, is Laura Metzold here and I can't see her, or who's family violence?
It is going to be David Martin.
David. Okay. I just was wondering. All right. I'll chat with David in a little bit.
That one will actually be Joe Ray, Judge. And Laura's out this week.
Okay.
She's working overnight.
All right. So Joe Ray will meet you there after you finish speaking to your client. Glenn Payne, who do you have?
Judge, I have Edward Ford, who is logging on here now. We didn't get an invite. I had to call the court this morning to get the invite. This is a recall from Friday. We're going to take a plea, but we haven't received the paperwork either.
Okay. All right. If you'll make sure that you let Ms. Ferguson know what the agreement is, and which prosecutor were you working with?
With David Martin on Friday, and I let Norma know on the chat. I hope she got it. It was basically 5 years silent. I do have a.
Oh, no. I don't want to know what the agreement is.
Oh.
It'll come to me in paperwork. That's why we use the chat box, but thank you.
Yeah, you're going to find out on this one pretty quick.
Yeah.
Do you want us to reset it till David sends the paperwork, or I have a 10:30 parole hearing?
No. We'll get it done. They'll get the paperwork to you. And where is Mr. Ford?
He should be signing on. I just sent him the link. I just got it, so I signed on. I just sent it to him. He should be here. He's the one with your moniker, world's greatest.
Okay.
Oh my God, guy.
That was the last setup.
All right. Raymond Martinez, you're back.
Judge, we have a semblance of an agreement. We just need some input from the court.
All right. Do we need to meet in a breakout room?
I don't think so, Judge. It's the only issue is the amount of the bond.
Yeah, basically, Judge, on Emmanuel Liao, we are agreeing that the defendant should get a bond. We are agreed that we do not want to have any type of contested hearing. The state is asking for $15,000 on each, and Mr. Martinez is asking for $10,000 on each. And past that, we defer to the court.
Okay. All right. Where's Mr. Liao? We're going to have a short hearing, so we'll put this on the record and go from there.
Judge, real quick, can you send Mario Morales to breakout room 5 with Anton?
Is that who is Mario Morales? Are you 14C? Could you raise your hand for me? Thank you. I'm going to send you to breakout room number 5.
And Judge.
Yes.
Can you send Curtis Williams to a breakout room with me?
I'm sorry, who?
Curtis Williams.
I'll see you in breakout room number 10.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Has anyone seen their CPS bill from last month yet? just out of curiosity? I'm genuinely asking because I've always get mine like on the second or third, and mine's still not ready yet. And I'm starting to worry that it's going to be some crazy thing because of the power outages.
I think you may have to worry. I'm not sure. I haven't received mine yet.
Yeah,
All
they
right.
said that they weren't sending bills out this month, Tom. They're just going to shut your power off for a week to compensate.
I'd honestly take that deal as long as they don't ding me with some crazy, $700 thing.
All right, so court is calling 2020 CR 5632, 2020 CR 5633, and 2020 CR 5702, State of Texas versus Emmanuel Liao. Can I have parties announced for the record, please, for the state,
Tom Nisbet.
for the defense?
Raymond Martinez,
And are you Mr. Liao?
you need to unmute Mr. Liao.
Yes, ma'am.
We're proceeding by video because of the pandemic. Any objections from the state?
None.
Any objections?
No, ma'am.
All right, we're going to go off the record for a few moments. Glenn Payne,
Yes, Judge.
I'm going to send you to breakout room number 1. Your client has arrived and I'm sending him to breakout room number 1 as well.
Awesome.
Thank you. All right, we're back on the record. Defense, in each of these cause numbers, you have filed a motion to set bond. And cause number 2020 CR 5633, your client is charged with burglary of a building with intent to commit theft. And cause number 2020 CR 5632, your client is charged with burglary of a building with intent to commit theft. And in cause number 2020 CR 5702, your client is charged with burglary with intent to commit theft. It's your motion. I'll let you proceed.
Mr. Liao, could you unmute for a second? Just leave it unmuted while I ask you some questions, please.
All right, you calling him as a witness?
Yes, please, I'm sorry.
Mr. Liao, could you raise your right hand for me? Solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand. State your name for the record, please.
Emmanuel Liao.
Defense.
Mr. Liao, you were previously on bond in all 3 of these cases, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you had a dispute or a conflict with the GPS that caused you to have a violation, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You understand that the judge set you a bond today, she's probably going to put you back on GPS?
I understand, sir.
Okay. Or do you have employment if you get released?
No, sir. I own my own business.
Okay. What do you do for work?
I do landscaping, sir. It's called Big Dogs Landscaping.
Okay. And you understand that when a person violates their bond conditions, it's not unusual for the court to double their bond once they get arrested?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are you asking the court to in fact double your bonds on these cases so that you can get back to work?
Yes, sir.
And do you have some financial obligations that are particularly worrisome to you right now?
Yes, sir, I do.
And what is that?
Sir, I'm in the process of losing my house, sir. I have three young little girls, my wife, and I'm in the process of losing my house and my car also.
When you were out on GPS previously, did you have did you have the fees waived? Do you know?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. What are the hours that you're asking the court to allow you to go work on your landscaping job?
I got from 7:30 in the morning to at least 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay. Is that Monday through Friday or Monday through Saturday?
Monday through Saturday, sir.
And how many years have you been doing this landscaping business?
Since I got out of prison, sir.
Okay. So a couple of years?
Yes, like 3 years.
I'll pass the witness, Judge.
State?
No question.
All right, I have a few. The reason he's remanded without bond is because he didn't appear for court. So counsel, do you want to address the issue as to why he didn't appear for court? And why was he violating, or you said there was some misunderstanding between him and pretrial services in his GPS?
I can talk about that too, Judge. Mr. Liao, who was your attorney previously?
I think her name was Maria Teresa.
Okay. And did you get notification of the court date that you missed that the court's talking about?
No, sir.
Okay. Do you get notices in the mail when you at your house?
I didn't get one, sir. She had 3 numbers which was my mother's, my sister's, and mine. Mine did change, but she did have my mother and sisters, and then I never got a phone call, sir.
Okay, so had you appeared at court at all before the one that you missed?
Yes, sir. I appeared at court, and when I went to the docket call, I came here personally, and they told me to come back because I rescheduled because of the coronavirus, sir.
Okay, and so you're saying that the one that you missed was because you didn't know about it?
Yes.
And you didn't have contact with your lawyer either?
No, I seen her at the elevator, and she told me and my wife that she'd be in contact with us. And I had some questions for her. She said that she'd be in contact with me. She wouldn't about her business, sir.
So when you missed court, we were still doing court in person?
Yes.
Okay. Now the issue with your GPS, correct me if I'm wrong, was that your GPS officer wasn't clear about what your hours that you were allowed to be out. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so when you were checking in to find out what time you had to be home, did you sometimes have difficulty communicating to get that information?
Yes, sir. I would have a communication with the tower. She said something about a tower that they'll let me know when to come back home, or that my monitor will buzz for me to get back home.
Hey, push enter.
Is that why you're asking the court today to set the time so that way there's no confusion about when you're supposed to be home?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I am.
Am I right?
Okay. That's all I have, Judge.
All right, so I want to go back a little bit because I'm looking at the court's docketing sheet. And he was set for June 30th, 2020. I show that an offer was tendered. He was given a regular reset. And at the next setting, he was going to be given a plea deadline date. So he came back on August 25th, 2020. And we received an update because they were saying that there were new cases that were coming down. And so it was recalled for September 16th for the defendant to appear. Defendant did not appear. Court did not issue a bond forfeiture. Then he had to appear on January 26th, and he didn't appear. And that's when the court issued a bond forfeiture. So I don't understand this thing about he didn't know about his court date, because unless he's moved homes, when he was set for August 25th, he would have received notice in the mail for September 16th, and he would have been in court. He would have received notice for when to come back as well. So that's my question. A conversation needs to be had on that issue. And the other conversation needs to be had is he's on GPS. The GPS can't find him. He's just informed counsel that he changed his number, but for some reason he didn't tell GPS his new number.
Let's address the phone number first, Mr. Liao. Does GPS have your phone number or a way to contact you?
Yes, they did have my phone number, sir. But my numbers would change, and I think she was a female, though, my girl or whatever. She had my number, and I would tell her every time she'll call, I'll get my number. My number's only changed once, though. It was only changed to one time only. But she had both numbers. I mean,
So you're saying you gave the GPS officer your number, but you didn't give it to the lawyer?
to the lawyer, no. I didn't get to the lawyer. Because Teresa, Maria Teresa, would tell me that she would get in contact with my sister. She said because I was moving numbers too much. I only had two numbers.
Well, let's talk about your court date, Mr. Liao. So did you appear at the September court date?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I appeared at one court date, and they told me to come back to reschedule it, and it was gonna be on Zoom, because that's when the coronavirus was just really kicking in. But I appeared to one. But I'm not gonna lie to the judge and not say, oh, I appeared on this one. I don't remember which one I appeared to.
Okay. So is your answer that you didn't appear because you just didn't appear, or because you didn't know the date?
I didn't know the date, sir.
Okay. But so let's go back. You appeared in August, correct?
It was one of them I appeared. I'm not gonna lie to you what date I appeared.
You don't remember?
I don't want to lie, no, sir.
On the August date, were you told to come back in September?
No, I was told that they would get back with me on the. Oh, look, this is what happened. They told me that I called back and see if I had court. They said no. And then they said something about Zoom. Then my lawyer would get in contact with me about my Zoom court date. That's what happened. I talked to a lady.
And you didn't follow up to get the Zoom invite and figure out how to do all of that?
No, sir. I didn't know how to do that.
So you did miss a court date that you were aware of. You just didn't make the effort to get that straightened
No,
out.
no. I went to one of the court dates, correct? And they told me to come back and reschedule my court date. And after that, I didn't. They said my lawyer would be in contact with me. She never contacted me.
Did you receive a notice for the January court date?
I did not, sir. I did not personally myself. I did not know. It was supposed to be going to 448 pace. It was never sent to 448 pace, 78207.
Is that still your address?
Yes, sir.
I'm not sure if that addresses the judge. Those are his answers.
All right, just give me one moment. Joe Ray and Rebecca, y'all have the ability to move about breakout rooms. Could you please go to breakout room number 6?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right, I think he's given you information, but it's not to the court's satisfaction because I write everything down in the docketing sheet. He knew about his court date. He chose not to appear for whatever reason. And now we're here. And not only did he not appear for his court date, but he didn't follow through with GPS. And for some reason, according to his testimony, he keeps changing his phone number and is expecting his attorney, who I don't know the last name of, he keeps saying Maria Teresa, and I don't think her last name is Teresa. I could be wrong. And for some reason, he wants his attorney to be able to keep track of how many numbers that he has because he keeps changing numbers. So here's what I want to know. What was the offense date for the number, the cause number ending in 5702?
1 second, Judge. Let me go back. 5702, the offense date is January 1st, 2020.
All right, and then 5633?
5633 is October 24th, 2019.
And 5632?
The same, October 24th, 2019.
And when was the COVID crisis? Was it after January 1st, 2020 or before January 1st, 2020?
After? Is that a rhetorical question? After?
Yeah. So, yeah, no. I mean, at least the public was made aware after it. It may have been before January. So if there's no other questions for Mr. Liao or defense, do you have any other witnesses?
I don't have any other witnesses, Judge, but I can tell you that I have staff that make it a regular daily assignment to keep track of people's phone numbers or addresses, notify them of their court dates, call them. We call every client the day before their court date to remind them of their court date. If they don't answer, we call their mother, we call their sister. We do not have these issues with Mr. Liao as long as I'm representing him, Judge.
Yeah, well, I will just tell you this as a side note and off the record, Brenna. When I was a brand new attorney, I used to do that, but then I realized everybody was an adult and I wasn't somebody's personal secretary. So, Mr. Liao, you get a court date, you know what it is. Mr. Martinez said that they'll be apparent to you and let you know over and over when your court date is, but you're a grown man, you should be able to keep up with that. How old are you?
38, Your Honor.
Yeah. All right, we can go back on the record, Brenda. Is there an agreement on the bonds or no? What defense, what are you requesting on each of the
We're
bonds?
asking that the bonds be doubled and the state's asking that they be tripled. That's the only dispute.
All right, so what bond amount, what were the previous bond amounts, defense?
We think there were 5 on each, Judge.
So
Judge, when I look at the events page, those 3 cause numbers previously had a $5,000 bond when they were initially set. But then there's a number of bond forfeitures and things like that along the way.
All right, and state, what bond amount are you asking for?
To triple it to 15.
All right. And cause number 5632. Court will set your bond at $10,000 with GPS. and a curfew of 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. And there's to be, you're not to leave the home on weekends. And cause number 2020 CR 5633. The court will set your bond at $10,000. There's to be GPS, curfew of 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, and you're not to leave the home Saturday and Sunday. And also on each of these cause numbers, you're not to have any employment with vulnerable persons. That means you're not to be a babysitter, you're not to be a home health care provider. And cause number 2020 CR 5702, court will set your bond at $15,000. GPS, curfew of 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, and you're not to leave the home Saturday or Sunday. Is there anything else from either side?
So, Your Honor.
All right, with that, we'll close the record. Mr. Liao, you better make sure you show up for court at every single time. Do you understand?
Yeah.
What are we doing with these cases?
We've conferred, Judge, but the issue of possibly outstanding cases is still there. So, I mean, sealed cases or cases to come, however you want to characterize it.
All right, and state when you think you'll have information on those cases.
I mean, what exactly was the court asking? Information I have here on the computer.
So how many more
Whether they get-
cases?
There's as many as 11. When they get indicted, I don't know. It doesn't stop us from trying to negotiate them now, but I think today is a broccoli only day. There's not any steak today.
Okay, so Norma, can you set Mr. Liao in 30 days?
Yes, ma'am. Put it back on the docket, Judge, so it will be April 15th.
All right, Mr. Liao. And Brenna, are we on the record, please?
Yes, Judge.
Mr. Liao,
Yes,
you're
ma'am.
you're appear next on April 15th. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
I need you to speak up louder so the court reporter can hear you.
Yes, ma'am.
It's at 9 a.m.
Okay, ma'am.
If you cannot Zoom, then you can appear in court. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So when are you supposed to appear?
April 15, ma'am.
What time?
9:30.
I said 9 a.m.
Oh, my bad.
Do you not understand?
9 a.m. Yes, ma'am.
So what day do you need to appear?
April 15.
What
9
time?
a.m. 9 a.m.
And how are you going to appear?
Either through Zoom or through court.
And the court is located at 300 De La Rosa, the 187 District Court on the 4th floor. If you are late, the state is more likely than not going to ask for a bond forfeiture and that you be remanded without bond. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So whether your attorney calls you or doesn't call you about the new date, you know the new date. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, with that, we'll close the record.
Can I get a breakout room, Judge? I'm sorry, with Mr. Liao? Before we leave.
Yes. I'll send you, if you go back to breakout room number 2, and Mr. Liao will meet you in breakout room number 2. After you finish speaking with him, have him come back to the main room.
Yes, Your Honor.
Everyone, just give me a moment. All right, Leo Gonzalez,
Yes, Your Honor.
hi, you're back and you brought your client back to the.
She was having some technical difficulties trying to get a bailiff to help her. So she may be still stuck in breakout room number 1.
All right, Norma, can you let them know that Miss Sonia Hernandez can go back? She's listed as, let me see. She's listed as 14I.
Thank you.
All right, you're excused.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a good day.
You're welcome. Cornelius Cox, you're back.
Yes, ma'am. And I had a very fruitful conversation with the Assistant District Attorney Judge. What I need, I asked and already to mention that to the District Attorney for a short reset in this matter, because there was actually a new case, and the discovery on new case they haven't gotten yet. So if I got a small reset, just give me an opportunity to an offer bit. We've discussed offers. Give me an opportunity to see the discovery so I can consult with my client, and hopefully we have a resolution when we come back.
Okay, so State, when will you be able to get discovery to Mr. Cox?
Your Honor, I don't know. This case was recently filed. We're missing some videos. The case hasn't even been assigned to an intake attorney yet. So I would say at least 30 days at this point.
All right, Norma, can you give me a 30-day reset for Mr. Devontae Govan?
April 14th.
All right, we'll come back on April 14th.
Yes, Judge, and I appreciate that the broccoli only day. I gotta use that. I like that. It's a broccoli only day.
Well,
You
at
don't
least
get to
it's
use
not a
that.
Brussels
That's fine.
sprouts day.
No, I like that. I like that.
All right, so we'll come back on April 14th.
Thank you, Judge.
At that time, when you come back, it'll either be set for a contested or regular.
Thank you, Judge. It's been a pleasure. Might be excused. Thank you.
Sure, you're welcome. And Mr. Govan, you're excused. Glennie Hernandez. All right, I'm going to send you to breakout room number 7. All right, Anton Hyatt.
Right here, Judge. I've conferred with the state and my client. He does not accept the offer.
Okay, Mario Morales.
He was in 5.
All right, is there Mario Morales? All right, Mr. Hyatt, can you go back to breakout room number 5 and tell your client to come to the main room, please?
Okay.
Thank you. Wait a minute, he's here now.
Yeah.
Mr. Morales, could you unmute for me, please? All right, Mr. Morales, my understanding is that you've been given an offer and you're declining the offer?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, defense, is there any outstanding discovery?
I don't believe so, Judge.
All right, is there anyone here from family violence? All right, Norma, can you let them know that Mr. Liao can go back? He's 14B.
I'm here, Judge.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I don't have an acknowledgement of discovery in my file. Are you able to get the acknowledgement of discovery to me by March 31st?
Yes.
All right, so acknowledgement of discovery will be due March 31st. And Mr. Morales, your plea deadline date has expired, so the court will not accept any further plea bargain agreements. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So if later on you decide to accept a plea, it'd have to be a plea that's open to the court.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, we will schedule you for a jury trial, okay?
Thank you.
All right, good luck to you.
Excused?
Yes, and Norma, can you let them know that Mr. Morales can go back? He's 14C.
Yes, ma'am.
And does anyone see which page Mr. Morales is on? Ah, found it. All right, Glenn Payne.
Yes, Judge, we're just waiting on paperwork. We got it from Norma. I just, we had other people come in. I couldn't talk. I was letting them finish up in breakout room 1.
Okay, your client's still in breakout room number 1, so you need more paperwork?
Wait on paperwork from the state.
Okay. All
It
right,
should be
Raymond.
coming right now.
All right, thank you. Raymond Martinez.
Mr. Honor, you asked us to come back after I finish talking to my client.
All right, Norma, can you let them know that Mr. Liao is excused?
Yes, ma'am, I already did.
Thank you. All right, unless you have someone else with us, you're excused.
Thank you, Judge.
What?
All right, Bobby Gibbia.
Morning, Judge. I have a motion to set bond with you. We conferred last week with David Martin Friday afternoon on this case. It is a motion to revoke probation, 1 deferred, 1 regular community supervision. My client is Mr. Jim Jackson. He is currently in fugitive status. We are trying to get the bond set and process him through the satellite office.
Okay, and what is your client's name again? I'm sorry.
Jim Jackson. I filed 2 written motions on Friday afternoon.
All right, and Norma, could you have Raymond Martinez come back? I think his client, Mr. Liao, has another remand without bond. And
He
it's
does, but
authorized use.
yes, Ray's not hired on the case.
Ah, okay. Who's the attorney on that case?
I
It's
guess it's
Maria.
All right, can you still call Raymond back and then call this other person?
Maria?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
And on Jackson, how many cases does he have? Is it just the 2?
He has the 2 cases out of your court, Judge, and he has 1 pending misdemeanor out of Judge Saldana's court.
All right, to the clerks. Could I get the motions on Mr. Jackson, please? Followed by the defense.
Yes, Judge.
All right, as soon as
I
I
think
have
I
those.
sent it to you by email, Judge.
I don't have an email on Jackson.
I sent it with the docket. You should have, they're all with the docket, Judge.
Yeah.
Judge, can you put me in a breakout room with Lupe?
Sure. Lupe, if you go back to number 10, please.
Yes, Judge.
I'll email it to you right now.
Thank you.
Judge Boyd.
Judge, may I approach?
Just give me one moment, please.
It's been sent to you, Judge.
All right, thank you. Sean Dawes, yes.
Okay, I'm here on Montoya Callahan. Did she show up?
I don't see her on the screen. I'll give her till 10:30.
Yeah, I called a number but anyway, so how long would you give her?
I give her till 10:30.
Ooh. Okay, well, we'll see. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Marco Bass,
I'm here, Judge. Good morning.
yes, which is your case?
Curtis Williams.
All right, just give me one moment. I have all the paperwork on that.
All right.
David Martin, on Jim Alfred Jackson, the defense is asking for a bond to be set and for him to turn himself in. Of course, the clerks will not put it into the system until he turns himself in. Is there an agreement on the bond or no?
No, the state thinks he should be remanded without bond on the motion to revoke community supervision case for the safety of the victim. He's been a fugitive for a year, and back in March of 2020, he picked up an interference with an emergency phone call with a dispute with the victim in both of those cases. So we think he should just turn himself in, sit in jail, and we can handle the MTR.
Please, the court, Your Honor.
Yes, and we're not on the record yet. Yes.
Fine. No
Well,
worries.
that's my best part. That's my best argument ever.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't really know a whole lot about Mr. Jackson's case right now. We were just hired on Friday. My expectation is that, we will get to the bottom of the allegations, that are out there. We just don't know what they are. I've heard whispers in the wind about affidavits of non-prosecution and this and that, but I need to investigate all of that. It's just difficult for me to do anything while he's in fugitive status. So while I respect Mr. Martin's opinion, now is not the time that anybody wants to be sitting in the jailhouse remanded without bond. I think that there are lots of mechanisms in place that we can have to ensure the safety of the victim and get a bond set on this. So that's
right.
not my best argument, but I have more.
All right, just give me a moment. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take up the case on Curtis Williams because I have all the paperwork for that.
Okay.
And then I'll come back to you. Who's the prosecutor on that? Curtis Williams.
That was Jordan.
All right, is Jordan available? Is anybody available?
I'm here, Judge.
Okay. Mr. Williams, you need to show your video, please.
There he is, Judge.
All right, just give me one moment. All right, the court is calling 2020 CR 4314A, State of Texas versus Curtis Odell Williams. If we can have parties announced for the record, please, for the state.
Jordan Brown for the state.
For the defense.
Marco Bass for the defense.
All right, and are you Mr. Williams?
Yes, ma'am.
We're proceeding by video because of the pandemic. Any objections from the state?
No objection.
Any objection from the defense?
No objections.
Mr. Williams, I'm showing you a document entitled Defendant's Consent to Appear by Video. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you electronically sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily consented to appear by video. Counsel, I'm going to show you what's entitled Discovery Acknowledgement. Have you received all the discovery in this case, and did you review it with your client?
Yes, Judge.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Mr. Williams, I'm showing you a document entitled True Bill of Indictment. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
Yes, we did, Judge.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
No, Judge, we're proceeding on a lesser included of misdemeanor A, theft, 750 to 2,500, I think is the range. Basically,
Yes.
enhancement language.
Any objection?
No objections, Judge.
Mr. Williams, I'm going to show you a document entitled Court's Admonishment and Defendant's Waivers and Affidavit of Admonitions. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it, and did you electronically sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand that the state is proceeding on the lesser included offense of theft, $750 to $2,500? That's a Class A misdemeanor. The range of punishment is up to 1 year in jail and up to a $4,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
If you have a plea bargain agreement with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea bargain agreement. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea bargain agreement and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you, and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call, and the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by entering this plea bargain agreement you were giving up those rights?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea bargain agreement in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses to this offense?
Yes, Judge.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
Very much so.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
Yes.
Mr. Williams, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter this plea?
No, ma'am.
Has anyone promised you anything other than the plea bargain agreement to get you to enter this plea?
No, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. Next, I'm showing you the plea bargain page. Did you review that page with your attorney, and did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
According to the plea bargain agreement, the state is proceeding on the lesser included offense of theft, $750 to $2,500. There's to be 30 days in the Bexar County Jail, and there are no applications for community supervision or deferred adjudication. Did you understand that to be the agreement?
Yes, ma'am.
Defense, is that the agreement?
Yes, Judge. Just one quick note. Were we able to, was all the paperwork handled seamlessly for the Bexar County Gives Back program?
They will get in contact with him.
Okay. That was it, Judge.
Mr. Williams, did you understand that to be the plea bargain agreement?
Yes, ma'am. With the program?
Yes. Defense, did you understand that to be the plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Judge.
State, is that the plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Judge.
Next, I'm showing you the paragraph entitled Waiver of Appeal. Did you review that paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it, and did you electronically sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, have there been any such motions?
No, Judge.
Then, Mr. Williams, to the lesser included offense of theft, $750 to $2,500. How do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
State, any evidence to support the defendant's plea?
State offers States Exhibit 1 and attachments.
Any objections?
No objections, Judge.
Mr. Williams, I'm going to show you a document entitled Waiving Consent to Stipulation of Testimony and Stipulations. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you electronically sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call, and the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports, but most importantly, there will be no live testimony? Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. The court will accept into evidence States Exhibits 1 and attachments and review the same. All right, after reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there's sufficient evidence to find you guilty, and the court will find you guilty. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
Yes.
All right. The state is requesting 30 days in the Bexar County Jail. I will sentence you to 4 Saturdays or 4 weekends to San Antonio Gives Back. That's if San Antonio Gives Back accepts you in the program. Mr. Williams, do you have any violent offenses, or is this your only offense?
This is my only offense.
All right.
You talking about all my life?
Yes.
I mean, I went to prison in 2008.
For what?
I think he's been accepted. Okay.
Yes. What did he go to prison for? Does anybody know? Mr. Williams, what did you go to prison for?
I had an aggravated robbery.
All right, so this is what we're going to do. I'm going to put off sentencing for 2 weeks. I'm going to have him interviewed for San Antonio Gives Back, see if they will accept him, because they have different, I'm sorry, yes?
He has been pre-reviewed. They pre-reviewed his file and he is accepted into the program.
Thank you, Rebecca. All right, you've been accepted.
I did my legwork, Judge, this time.
Thank you, Mr. Bass.
I'm learning.
So I'm going to sentence you to San Antonio Gives Back. All right, so I'm going to sentence you to 30 days in the Bexar County Jail, and that will be served through San Antonio Gives Back. Is there anything else from either side with regards to sentencing?
And we said 4 weekends, Judge?
They'll tell him how many weekends, but it's my understanding is that you both agreed that 4 weekends would be, a month would be appropriate.
Thank you, Judge.
And that's starting this weekend, Judge?
Yes. All right, and Mr. Williams, I'm going to show you a document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it, and did you electronically sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we can go off the record. Mr. Williams, how did your dog survive or no?
Yes, ma'am. He I guess he had ate something. They gave him a vomiting shot, and like 2 days later, he was all right. He lost a little weight, but he good.
All right. Did he need to lose a little weight though?
No, not really. I really want him to gain some weight. He's still a puppy. He only 8 months.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, you need to watch what he eats. I'm going to send you all to a breakout room just so that everyone will know what you need to do. Rebecca, can you make sure he has the information?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge, it's Bianca Gonzalez here from 226. So I came on. I kind of go to the Bear Gives Back program every Thursday. So I'll meet with Mr. Williams to go over that.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. Everybody really did your homework. I appreciate that.
Judge, and Lady Gaga got her dogs back. I'm sure you heard about that.
Yes, I did. And I heard that she gave a $500,000 bond for the return of her dogs, but nothing for finding out who shot her dog Walker.
All right. All right. Have a good morning.
All right, you too. So, Mr. Williams, let me find, I'm going to send you to breakout room number 1. And after you've spoken with probation, you're excused. And Mr. Bass, you're in number 1. After you've spoken with probation, you're excused.
And Judge, I'm going to be in there just so that way I can hear what's going on.
Oh, sure. Okay, thank you. All right, Glenn Payne, your client keeps popping in and popping out. I don't know if he's losing connection. What's going on?
Well, he said his phone died. We finished the state's paperwork. We're waiting on the court paperwork now. We've gone over.
It's been done, Glenn.
Oh, good. Okay. He gave Norma the wrong email, but I think we're all set once he gets sworn in, Judge.
Okay, I haven't received any paperwork.
Well, you seem to be the weak link now.
No, I'm not the weak link. I'm the strongest link. Everybody has paperwork in their box that they need to get to me. So there we go. All right, Stephen Nicholas and Valerie Fisher, you guys are back with Mr. Hernandez.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am.
I believe the state needs a short reset to get video in their possession and get it over to us. I'm not sure if 2 weeks is sufficient, but we would hope that it's a short reset.
All right, who's the prosecutor on this and how much time do you need?
Joe Ray, Judge. Yes, Judge, I just need to get a hold of surveillance video for the theft case. 2 to 3 weeks should be fine.
All right, Norma, could you just recall this for the end of the month, please?
Yes, ma'am.
That's fine with me, Judge.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Sorry, Judge, give me 1 second. I'm trying to bring up the calendar. Oh my God. Oh, sorry, 29th of March.
All right, we'll
29th
see you
of
back
March.
on March 29th.
March 29th. Thank you, Judge.
All right. All right, you're
Yeah.
excused.
You have a nice day.
All right, you too.
Thank you.
All right, Norma, can you let them know that 14I or L can go back? That's Mr. Hernandez, Glennie Hernandez.
Yes, ma'am.
Ronald Ortman, you've been waiting.
Yes, I have.
Yes, what is going on?
We filed a motion for modification of Mr. Kuko's bond conditions, and that motion's before the court at this time.
All right, and did you confer with the state or no?
I did, yes. We've conferred multiple times.
All right, who is the prosecutor on this case?
Marcus Sanders.
All right, Brent, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. No, that'll be Brenna, not you.
I'm
Ronald.
sorry.
That's okay. Court is calling 2019 CR 12887, State of Texas versus Ross Kuko. Could I have the parties announced for the record for the state,
Marcus Sanders.
for the defense?
Ronald A. Ortman for the defense, judge, and we're ready.
All right. And Mr. Kuko, how do you pronounce your last name?
You said it properly, Your Honor. Thank you. Kuko.
All right, thank you. It appears that the O is silent, I guess. We're proceeding by video because of the pandemic. Any objections from the defense?
No, judge.
Any objections from the state?
No, Judge.
Mr. Kuko, do you have any objections with us hearing this motion to reduce bond by video?
No, Your Honor, and thank you for hearing me today. Thank you.
All right, defense, it's your motion.
Thank you, Judge. So Mr. Kuko was originally being held on $75,000 bond. We filed our first motion to reduce bond, and the court reduced his bond, as I recall, to $50,000 and said that if he were released on that particular bond, that he would be basically under house arrest and wearing a GPS monitor. Since then, Mr. Kuko's been accepted into a faith-based program, and that's a rehabilitation program. And in order to participate in that with Victory Homes International and be admitted to their rehabilitation home, he would have to obviously be released from custody. And then also he cannot participate if he's wearing an ankle monitor. So we're, back in front of the court today to see if we can get those conditions removed. And we would point out to the court that he's, at the time of the writing of our motion, which was a few days ago, he had been in custody for 423 days.
All right, State?
Yes, Judge, we're opposed to, well, I guess partially he's asking for a PR bond, which he's not eligible for. We would also be opposed to lowering the bond and removing GPS due to the nature of the offense and the defendant's criminal history.
All right, so what is the defendant's criminal history?
1 second. It looks like there was a burglary of a building conviction, an evading arrest conviction, another burglary of a building conviction, and then various misdemeanors, thefts, no prior assaults.
Okay. All right, Mr. Orderman, are you asking again for another PR bond? Are you requesting a PR bond?
Actually, Judge, I have to, because his parents called and that's what they wanted me to do. And they made the point that there's no way that they can post a surety bond. They're both elderly, they're both living on Social Security. And so posting cash is really beyond their reach right now. It's just simply not possible. So yes, we are asking for a PR bond. They can sign for it. That's not a problem. And
Okay,
then
so let's address the PR bond issue. One, your client, based upon the governor's directive, is not eligible for a PR bond. So I know the court has previously ruled on his application of PR bond and has denied it. And I deny it again. He's not eligible for a PR bond based upon the governor's directive. Mr. Kuko, do you understand that you're not available for a PR bond?
I do, Your Honor. And if it's okay, I would just like to ask the court to, if it's possible, if it's in your power, if you feel led to please grant this. I'm going into a faith-based rehabilitation program, and I just.
All right, so here's the thing about the faith-based program that you're seeking to enter into. The court is aware of that program.
Yes, ma'am.
What the court is aware of is that program is not a lockdown facility. You can leave that program at any time. And I know what you will tell me is, I promise you I will not leave that program. But I have no control over whether or not you will leave that program. So the court is not inclined based upon the nature of your offense. I'm not saying that it's true or not true. I've, of course, heard no evidence about the underlying facts of the offense. But the charges against you are aggravated robbery. And when it's aggravated robbery, even though I don't know the facts of the case, but aggravated means there was allegedly some type of weapon that was used. And let me see if I can look at the indictment, if I have a copy of it in here.
And Judge, one side note, it looks like he's awaiting an evaluation also.
May I say something, Your Honor?
Yes.
It was a alleged assault and a theft that was enhanced because the victim is on SSI. So it was not aggravated robbery. It was an enhancement too, Your Honor. And I would just, yes, I would say that I promise to appear in court. Your Honor, I'm at your mercy.
No, and I understand, Mr. Kuko, and I don't want you to start talking about the facts of the case because I'm sure your attorney doesn't want you getting into the facts of the case.
Yes, ma'am.
But what I can tell you is, based upon reading the indictment, the way it's charged and what you're charged with, you're not eligible for a PR bond.
Yes, Your Honor.
And because of the nature of the offense, I think you should remain on GPS. So I'm not going to remove the GPS.
And then what about the amount, Judge? Is it possible to reduce the amount? It's currently at 50, if I recall correctly.
If you want to refile Mr. Ortman and call witnesses to have me hear evidence on his ability or his inability to make that bond, the court will, of course, hear that. All right, if there is nothing else, then the motion to reduce bond and the motion to remove GPS will be denied. All right, is there any outstanding discovery on this case?
We believe that there may be, and I'm going to file a formal notice for 3914 disclosure.
All right, Norma, can you reset this case for discovery issues? What outstanding discovery do you believe there is, Mr. Ortman?
The court may recall that we had an investigator appointed to this case, and he's former FBI, so he's very thorough. And he has found that the complainant in this case has made similar accusations against other individuals, and that those allegations were ultimately found to be baseless, and that she does it as a retaliatory measure rather than on the basis of merit. And so
So this is what we'll do. Norma, can you recall this case for the first week in April? State, will that give you a chance to investigate defense's claims?
Judge, we talked about this. Mr. Ortman said that he would get back to me with names and agencies because it's sort of hard to do a blanket search.
All right. So, Mr. Ortman, if you provide that to the state, they'll be able to look into it, and that may result in some movement on this case. Norma, what's the date we can come back?
April 8th.
All right, so we're going to come back on April 8th. And Mr. Ortman, if you can talk with, of course, I don't want to interfere in your case, but if you can speak with the state and give them whatever names of people who've said that this has happened, you can. If you decide not to, then that's up to you.
Well, we've already done that, Judge. We had a three-way conversation with Mr. Sanders, and we included our investigator in it, and he read from his notes. And as I said, he's former FBI, so he doesn't make mistakes, and he's not sloppy. So the state has a very good idea of what's going on in the background of this.
Okay.
Judge, that's not correct, but I won't get into it.
It is absolutely correct.
No, it's not.
Okay, so everyone, today is Monday. Let's not make it into a real Monday. Let's, So tell you what, Mr. Ortman, how about this? How about if your investigator or whoever it is sends an email to the state with names, and then people will have the names.
We're fine with that.
Okay. All right, so do you have Mr. Sanders' email address?
I do.
All right, so there we go. Look at me solving problems on a Monday.
Your Honor.
Yes, you're
Thank
welcome.
God bless you.
All right, so we're closing the hearing has previously been closed. Thanks, Brenda. All right, so Mr. Ortman, you're excused, and your client, Mr. Kuko, is excused, and we'll come back. And the state will await your names. So if you can make sure you give them those names this week, then we'll have something tangible on April 8th.
Perfect. Thank you, Judge.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. Norma, Mr. Kuko can go back. He's 14D. James Toshi, you're back.
Yes, Judge, I need to speak to Mr. Scott. I forgot what breakout room he was in, but I need to go back and chat with him. And I believe we will have resolution on his MTR today. I also have a sentencing on Richard Blanco as well. So those are my two things cooking with you this morning.
All right, I've sent you to breakout room number 4. Your client is waiting there for you.
Thank you.
And so far, the only thing I've received on Ford is the certificate of appeal, application for probation, and a consent to appear by video.
Judge, I got the confirmations that the discovery and the DA paperwork were completed. I guess they haven't made your box yet.
No, so I don't have that. Can someone see where the state's paperwork is as it relates to Mr. Ford, please?
The court's paperwork, Judge, or the plea bargain? And I'm sorry, I
The
wasn't
plea
hearing what you-
bargain paperwork, the state's paperwork.
Okay.
Because it's not showing in my box. All right. Rebecca, I'm going to send you something in the chat box.
Okay. I'll look into that.
Thank you. All right, and Bobby Gibbia, just give us a moment. I want to make sure that I get Mr. Payne's case taken care of.
No problem, Judge. Thank you.
All right.
Judge, I send you a chat.
Okay. All right, Spencer Thomas, where are you? Could you unmute for me, please?
Yes, ma'am. How are you this morning? Hello.
Oh, all right.
God bless you.
You are here for a PR bond.
Yes,
Your
ma'am.
attorney is Linda Molina. However, Linda Molina has been appointed to a new position. So she is no longer your court-appointed attorney. So we're trying to see who's next on the list to get you a court-appointed attorney today, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
All right.
So just sit here and wait for one, or?
Yes, just sit here and wait. And Norma, can you make sure it's the court-appointed attorney is available to speak with Mr. Spencer today because he's in custody?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. It is kind of an emergency that I speak with him too.
All right, just
But
give
there's
us
a
a
lot.
moment.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
All
ma'am.
right, thank you.
Judge and I responded to your chat.
All right, let me look. And I'm sending you a chat.
So this is kind of like breaker 19. You got to tell people you're chatting, over break, since your chat, over break. Some things never change.
Yeah, no, not really breaker 19. Yeah. Although in school, I did have a composition notebook that had all the terminology for CB talking. But, these are young people on the screen, so they don't know what a CB is.
it's pretty sad whenever we're becoming relevant again. That means it's made a big, huge circle coming back to things.
All right. Miss Laurel Peterson, you need to unmute yourself.
I'm unmuted.
All right. Miss Peterson, do you want to be extended on your probation?
I mean, I don't want to, but
Yeah, because here's the thing. You're coming up to expire, but you haven't done anything, really. What have you completed?
I completed the theft class, the program you put me in. Only thing I haven't done is community service. I made my payments and I was waiting on my income tax. I had told the judge that.
Okay, so when?
I'm sorry, the probation officer.
Okay, so when are you going to be able to do your community service hours?
Whenever I'm allotted to. My probation, before I got this probation officer, Mr. Scott had told me that I wasn't allowed to donate and that he would let me know when I could go community service. Then the whole epidemic happened, and then I've never heard nothing about it. I don't.
Rebecca, can she do community service at the food bank?
Let me check her offense. I'm not sure on her with her offense, Judge.
My offense is theft.
Right, but I'm not sure if they'll accept it.
Oh, okay.
But donation, I believe the donations would be okay.
All right, so here's the thing. You're going to get some community service done.
Yes, ma'am.
So you only have 60 hours that you need to do. If you do not complete those 60 hours, either by paying for them at $7.25 per hour, or either actually doing 60 hours of community service restitution, your deferred adjudication is going to be extended. And it's going to be extended for 6 months. So if you don't want it, if you don't want it extended, then this had better be done.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
I'm going to give you a deadline because they're telling me your probation expires on April 1st. So, Rebecca,
I'll have it
I'm
done
going to want an
before-
update on her on March 29th. And if it is not done by March 29th, your probation is getting extended.
Judge, who do I donate? I mean, how do I do that?
Just 1 second. I'm going to send you to a breakout room with probation.
Does the phone just go to it? I don't know how to.
No, I'm going to send you to a breakout room.
Okay.
I'm sending you to breakout room number 1. Probation will meet you there. And again, if it's not done by that date, your probation is going to get extended. We're not going to have a compliance hearing. Probation is going to give me a report saying that you haven't done what I've asked you to do, and your probation is going to get extended. Do you understand?
Yes, yes, Judge.
All right, you can go to breakout room number 1 in probation. If you go to breakout room with number 1 with her and tell her where she needs to be.
Yes, ma'am.
So just press join?
Yes.
Okay.
Judge, can I see you in a breakout room really quick?
Yes. I'll meet you in breakout room number 1. I'm sorry, number 2. Mr. Tochi, can I see you in breakout room number 2, please?
Sure, Judge.
All right, Glenn Payne, I don't have your paperwork from the state. It hasn't come through my box. So that means it's still floating around either in your client's box, the world's greatest.
Yes.
Could you unmute yourself, please?
Judge, I got the confirmation that it had been completed, and I downloaded a copy of the state, so he doesn't.
Can you have your client come on the screen?
I think he had to log back in, Judge. Did you bounce him back in?
No, he's right here on the screen.
It says
I'm
it's,
looking at I'm sorry, what, David?
yeah, it says it's in his client's email address waiting to be signed.
So that's where it is.
But I have the completed.
No, it's completed from your end, but it's not completed from his end. And so it hasn't come to me.
I'll talk to him. It doesn't.
Glenn, Glenn, I'm sorry to interrupt. It's probably what happened with me. He probably put an O instead of a 0 on his email. Maybe with the prosecution. Maybe that's why he hasn't received it, maybe?
I don't know. I'm sending you all to breakout room number 2, and you guys can figure that out. And Glenn Payne, you can go to breakout room number 2 and let me know who the weakest link is when you come back. Yeah.
And Judge, can you send me number 2 also?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, Bobby Gebbia.
Yes, Judge.
Hi. Are you ready to proceed on your person?
I hope so. I'm certainly ready.
Okay. Just one moment.
Judge, that paperwork was sent to you by email already for Scott.
I'm signing it literally right now, Norma.
All right, so Mr. Gebbia, you have Mr. Jackson.
Yes, I do, Judge.
So here's the court's concern. We're not on the record yet. My concern is that he's on bond for assault family second offense. And well, 2 assault family second offense. And then we have an alleged interference with, I guess, a 911 call or something. Is that correct?
Some misdemeanorish type behavior, yeah.
And so my question is that the same complainant that is in both of these cases?
Yes, it is.
All right. So this is what the court will do. The court will hear your motion once Mr. Jackson is in custody. And then I'll make a decision from there.
Okay, Judge. I'll let them know.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Gebbia, and thank you for your patience as always.
Of course. I got no broccoli nor steak after waiting all this time, but that's okay.
But did you get any dessert?
But either way, it's always a pleasure to see you guys. Thanks, Judge.
All right. Thank you. Have a good one.
Judge, can you send L7 with Toshi to a breakout room, please?
Let me see. Where is Toshi? I'll send you to number 3. And who is L7? What's the name?
Scott, Terrence Scott.
All right, Mr. Scott, if you go to breakout room number 3. And the world's greatest, I don't have your documents.
Judge, that's Mr. Ford. He won't answer my phone call now. So could you tell him to either call me or go in the breakout room? I think y'all put us in 2 so we can walk him through the.
He's back in 2.
Okay, thank you.
All right, and Norma, I'll see you in the chat box the list of attorneys that we need.
Yes, ma'am. I'm gonna send you an email, Judge.
All right, thank you.
And an email I sent you in regards to a case that we have on the docket today.
All right, thank you. Okay. So when is this set? Do we know?
I don't know, Judge. I don't even know why it's over there, to be honest with you. It's an indicted case.
All right, let me see you in the breakout room.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll see you in breakout room number 1. And David Martin, if you could go to breakout room number 1, please. And just Lupe, you should have the paperwork from Mr. Ford. And Tom Nesbitt, if I could see you in breakout room number 1, please.
Yes, Judge.
Motion, Terrence Scott, take over.
All right, we're ready on Mr. Scott. Who's the prosecutor on Terrence Scott? It's a family violence.
Joe Ray, Judge.
All right. All right, Mr. Scott, can you unmute for me, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Court is calling 2016 CR 8204, State of Texas versus Terrence Lee Scott. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Joe Ray Garcia for the state.
For the defense?
James Tochi for Mr. Scott, Judge.
All right, and are you Mr. Scott?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we're proceeding by video because of the pandemic. Any objection from the state?
No, Judge.
Any objections from the defense?
Oh, Your Honor.
Mr. Scott, I'm showing you a document entitled Defendant's Consent to Appear by Video. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it, and did you electronically sign it?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily consented to appear by video. Mr. Scott, the previous attorney that was appointed to you was Carl Alexander. Carl Alexander stated off the record that he had a conflict of interest in that he is the one who negotiated your plea bargain agreement as a prosecutor. The attorney appointed to you was Mr. James Toshi. Did you have enough time to confer with Mr. Toshi about your case?
Yes, ma'am, I have.
And do you wish to proceed with this hearing today?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Scott, I'm going to show you a document entitled Motion to Revoke Community Supervision. Did you review that document with your attorney, and did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am. I understand.
Are you the same Terrence Lee Scott who was placed on community supervision in cause number 2016 CR 8204 for the offense of assault, family second offense on June 7, 2017 for a term of 4 years? Is that you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, state.
Violated condition number 28 on or about the 22nd day of February 2021 in Bexar County, Texas. The defendant, Terrence Lee Scott, did then and there fail to attend, comply with all the rules, regulations, instructions, and financial agreements as directed by the court and or supervision officer and or the head of or authorized personnel of the following counseling education program, state accredited battering intervention and prevention program in violation of condition number 28.
How do you plead to that? True or not true?
True.
All right, state.
State waives the remaining allegation, Your Honor.
Any objections to the state's waiver of violation of condition number 2?
No, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Toshi, did you have ample time to confer with your client, Mr. Scott?
Yes, I did, Judge.
All right, and did you need any more time to prepare for this hearing?
No, ma'am, I don't. We're prepared to go forward.
All right, is there an agreement?
Yes, Judge, there is. We ask that you deny the motion, extend 1 year so the defendant may have time to complete the BIP class and weekly UAs for 30 days.
All right, is that the agreement, defense?
That is our agreement, Judge. I've explained to Mr. Scott, you know, the importance of really doing the BIP. I know that's a big priority, and the UAs as well. But yes, we ask that you follow the agreement. Apparently, he's on the cusp of enrolling into BIP. I anticipate he'll have that done within 2 weeks and get started.
All right, Mr. Scott, do you understand that the court could sentence you up to 10 years in prison? Are you understanding that?
Yes, ma'am, I do understand.
All right, and you're still pleading true to violation of condition number 28?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'm going to find violation of condition number 28 true. And Mr. Scott, it is very important that you do what's asked of you. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself potentially going to prison for 10 years. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Rebecca, how long will it take for him to be enrolled into the BIP?
He just needs to reach out to the agency. He has, we have on file the conditions for BIP. And I think he just needs to present that to the agency as proof that it is court ordered.
All right, I'm going to extend your probation for 1 year. You must enroll in the BIP by March 19th. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. You get out of jail, right? And you're like, oh, I don't have to enroll till March 19th, so I'm going to wait and do it on March 19th. Do not procrastinate, because anything can happen on March 19th. You could, the bus could break down that you're on and it doesn't get you there in time, or your vehicle doesn't work, so you don't get there in time. I am telling you, there will be no excuses. You need to be registered by March 19th. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am, clearly.
Now, is there going to be any type of drug problem with you?
No, no, ma'am, I don't have a drug problem. I work a lot, that's all. No.
All right. Well, you know what? You can have a choice. You can do the weekly UAs for 30 days, or when you get out of custody, we will put a patch on you. And that means that patch is going to be able to tell probation whether or not you've been using drugs since you've been released from custody. So I'm going to put down a patch or either weekly UAs for 30 days. I think if you do the math, it's probably cheaper to do the patch the one time in the weekly UAs for 30 days, but that's completely up to you. And Rebecca, after the patch or either the 30 days of UA, then it will be random UAs.
And how long did you want the drug patch on?
He just needs one patch. So whenever they want to remove it, that's up to them to remove it. If we can keep it on for 4 weeks, that would be great. All right, is there anything else from either side with regards to sentencing?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Mr. Scott, I'm going to send you to breakout room number 1. Probation will meet you there, and probation will go over conditions with you. If you have any questions about your conditions, now's the time to ask it with probation, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Judge,
All
did you
right,
need,
Mr. Ford. I'm sorry, yes, James?
did you need me to go to breakout room 1 with my client?
No, unless you wish to go there.
No, no, ma'am. He knows the score.
All right, and so you have Mr. Spencer is raising his hand. I'll send you to a breakout room with Mr. Spencer, breakout room number 2. And who are the prosecutors on Mr. Ford?
David Martin was the prosecutor, Judge. I don't know who's going to be handling the plea.
David Martin, or either Joe Ray could, David
do
Martin
it.
is available. All right, the court is calling 2019 CR 5345, State of Texas versus Edward O'Neill Ford. If we could have parties announced for the record, please, for the state,
David Martin.
for the defense.
Glenn Payne.
All right, Mr. O'Neill, could you please stop moving around? It's making me dizzy. And I need you to unmute.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we're proceeding by video because of the pandemic. Any objections from the state?
No objection.
Any objections from the defense?
None, Your Honor.
Mr. Ford, I'm showing you a document entitled Defendant's Consent to Appear by Video. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you electronically sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that the defendant has knowingly and voluntarily consented to appear by video. Next, I'm showing you the application for deferred adjudication or community supervision. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you electronically sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, I'm showing you the discovery acknowledgement. Have you received all the discovery in this case, and did you review it with your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Mr. Ford, I'm showing you a document entitled True Bill of Indictment. Did you review that document with your attorney, and did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
We do, Your Honor.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
Yes.
Mr. Ford, I'm going to show you a document entitled Court's Admonishment and Defendant's Waivers and Affidavit of Admonitions. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it, and did you electronically sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand what you're charged with as a repeated violation of court order or bond conditions, family violence, That's the third degree felony. The range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 10 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
If you have a plea bargain agreement with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea bargain agreement. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea bargain agreement and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call and the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by entering this plea bargain agreement, you were giving up those rights?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea bargain agreement in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand that the court were to grant your application for deferred adjudication? If for any reason your deferred adjudication were revoked, the court could find you guilty, not grant you community supervision, and sentence you up to 10 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses to this offense?
We discussed the possible defenses, Your Honor.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
I do.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
In my opinion, yes.
Mr. Ford, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter this plea?
No, ma'am.
Has anyone promised you anything other than the plea bargain agreement to get you to enter this plea?
No, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. Next, I'm showing you the plea bargain page. Did you review that page with your attorney and did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
According to the plea bargain agreement, punishment is to be assessed at a cap of 5 years in the prison. The state will remain silent on your applications. There's to be anger management and full compliance with any active protective order. Did you understand that to be the plea bargain agreement?
Yes, ma'am.
Defense, is that the plea bargain agreement?
It is, Your Honor.
State, is that the plea bargain agreement?
Yes.
Next, I'm showing you the paragraph entitled Waiver of Appeal. Did you review that paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you electronically sign it in both places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, have there been any such motions?
No, Your Honor.
Next, I'm showing you outside the plea bargain agreement. The state is requesting that you have 120 hours community service restitution, no contact LaShonda Ford or Concord Healthcare or any place of education or employment of LaShonda Ford, Kenedi, Kenedi Brown, Trey Brown, and Ed Cody Elementary School or any other school they attend. Did you understand those are recommendations from the state and the court does not have to follow those recommendations?
Yes, ma'am.
Then to the offense is charging the indictment. How do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Guilty.
State, any evidence to support the defendant's guilty plea?
Law for states one in the attachment.
Any objections?
No objection, Your Honor.
Mr. Ford, I'm going to show you what's entitled Waiver and Consent to Stipulation of Testimony and Stipulations. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you electronically sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call them the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports, but most importantly, there will be no live testimony? Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. The court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments, and the court will review the same. All right, reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty. However, the court will defer finding the guilt as you applied. Your client is no longer on the screen, Mr. Payne.
He's the world's greatest escape artist.
Okay, we'll wait for Mr. Ford to come back. And Norma, can you give me,
Please leave your message.
yeah, can you give me a reset date for Mr. Ford? For sentencing, and he needs to be in the court.
Yes, ma'am. Give me 1 second.
Norma, just because, just to save some time, I'll be on vacation from 4:12 to 4:20 and 5:03 to 5:10 if we can fit it in any other time.
All right, thank you. Sure.
The 28th, April 28th.
Okay. Good for me.
All right. And we'll just wait for your client to come back so I can make my ruling. And Mr. Toshi, I know you're here on Mr. Scott, but Mr. Daniel De La Garza is here as well.
On Scott or Blanco, Judge?
On Blanco. And do you need to speak with someone of Mr. Spencer, Mr. Toshi?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. I would like to. I was actually communicating with Mr. Nisbet already because it's a CTD case. So,
All right, I sent you to breakout room number 3. And do you want me to send Mr. De La Garza there so you all can discuss as well?
that would be helpful. Yes.
All right, Daniel De La Garza, if you go to breakout room number 3 as well, please. Roland Garcia.
Judge and Mr. Ford, I called him and went to voicemail and I texted him. I haven't got a response.
All right, let's see what happens. And Norma, could you call Daniel De La Garza, please?
Daniel De La Garza?
Yes, he's on the screen, but he's away, I guess, from his screen. Could you call him and tell him to go to breakout room number 3, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Roland Garcia? Okay, we shall see. Ah, here he comes. Glenn, he's back.
I'm sorry, my phone had died.
That's okay. The next time you appear in this courtroom, it's going to be in the courtroom.
Okay.
All right, so just give us a moment. We're waiting for the court reporter to come back. So just give me a moment.
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Payne, before we go back on the record, is your client going to need a TAP evaluation or anything of that nature?
Judge, I don't know about a TAP evaluation, but there were some issues where he had some clinical help, some psychological stuff.
Okay. Rebecca, we're waiting for Brianna to come back, but this case is 2019 CR 5345. And he's applied for deferred adjudication. And we're going to need a MILF evaluation. Mr. Ford, do you need any type of TAP evaluation? Are there any drug issues?
No, ma'am, no drug issues. I mean, I had
Well, they said I was admitted to a psych ward, and they
Okay.
diagnosed me.
All right, so I don't
So
want to
they
go into
diagnosed me.
I don't want to go into deep facts with you, Mr. Ford, because your attorney may not want you to say certain things. So is there going to be a positive UA for marijuana or anything? Because in Texas, marijuana is considered a drug.
So yes, ma'am.
All right, so I'm going to add TAP evaluation, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we're going to go back on the record. After reviewing State's Exhibits 1 and attachment, the court will find there's sufficient evidence to find you guilty. However, the court will defer finding of guilt. Mr. Ford, this is going to be recalled for April 28th. You'll need to be in the courtroom. That's 300 De La Rosa, the 187 District Court. We're on the 4th floor. I'm going to need you in the courtroom for many reasons, but the main one is there's always seems to be an issue with your phone. So we're going to cut through that and solve that problem. So you'll need to appear in person.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So with that, if there's nothing else from either side, we will close the record.
Judge verification, that's 9 a.m.
Yes, 9 a.m. And I'm going to send you to breakout room number 1, Mr. Ford. Probation will meet you there and go over conditions with you. And Mr. Payne, you can go to number 1 or you can be excused.
I need to be excused. I don't have another hearing to do.
All right.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Ford, if you go to breakout room number 1. Roland Garcia.
Hello, Your Honor.
Yes, and you are back on
Gilliland.
Gillian. All right, the court is going to call 2020 CR 4853 and 2020 CR 3553, State of Texas versus Donald Joe Gillian, who has not made an appearance. Can I have parties announced for the record, please?
Alexandra Williamson for the state.
Roland Garcia for the defense.
All right. And I'm sorry, Brenda, off the record for a moment. Has anyone checked is Donald Gillian still in custody or not?
I believe he's on bond.
All right, because it shows that he was rearrested. Because somebody check to make sure he's not in custody?
Well, Your Honor, this is kind of an unusual case. He was on bond for one case, then he got indicted for the second one. But when he was indicted, it was during pandemic, so he was making his appearances via Zoom. So he made the appearances via Zoom while there was an active warrant on the second case. I had conferred with Marcus when the warrant came down, and he had agreed to a PR bond. So we filed a motion for a PR bond on the second case, but it was granted, but it hadn't been processed because he hadn't been booked. So once he got booked on this case, on the newer one at the recent arrest, I assume what happened is they saw the order for the PR bond, and he was granted the PR bond and released. And then the violation report came out for the subsequent arrest.
Okay. So Norma says he's out on bond on both cases. Okay. All right, then we are back on the record. All right, this hearing was scheduled. Wait just one second. Oh, yes, this hearing was scheduled at 9 a.m. It's now 11:19 a.m. Deputy Laura or Deputy Mejia, has there been a Donald Gilliland in the courtroom at all today?
No, Your Honor, he has not.
And for the record, he has not been on the Zoom screen. And the court is also in receipt of a violation report and cause number 2020 CR 4853, which states that pretrial services has never had any contact with the defendant and he has never reported. Defense, have you had any contact with your client?
I have in the past. I have not since the violation notice was submitted.
All right, state.
It would request that she forfeit his bond and issue a warrant for his arrest.
All right, that would be granted in each case.
If I may, I don't know that he has notice to be here today, Your Honor. What I would ask for is that this matter be taken up on the next setting, which is on March 18th, which is only 10 days away. So since I presume that his bondsman will give him notice of the March 18th date, I would ask that this matter be recalled and ruled on that date. And if he doesn't appear for that, then obviously he's got other issues to deal with.
All right, State, do you have any objections to that suggestion from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
All right, I'll show that your client was a no-show. And we will see if your client doesn't show on March 18th, and on March 18th, he needs to be here on time. So it's 9 a.m. I'm not going to wait till 11 o'clock for him to show or 10:30 for him to show.
Okay.
All right, and I'm not going to be the judge who's here that day. It's going to be Judge Angelini. So Ms. Ferguson, can you make sure that Judge Angelini knows that the defendant did not appear on this date that he was scheduled?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you're excused.
Thank you, Judge. Have a good day.
All right, you too. And Norma, if you could check your chat box. All right, Robert Guyana. You're here on
Hey, Judge,
Edward
how are you?
Rangel. Hi.
He was COVID positive last time, so I don't know if they brought him over or what.
All right, we will check on that. And Norma, if you can see if Mr. Edward Rangel is going to be here today.
Judge, I'm talking to the jail right now. He's still in the positive unit. He still has COVID.
All right, thank you. So we will recall your case for another date.
Can't wait.
Yeah, we'll see what date.
I think he only needs no more than a week, Judge. We've been doing this a couple times now, so.
All right, maybe we can recall it for the end of March to just be sure.
Judge,
Yes.
I probably need to get a hold of the nurse. That's what the jail is telling me because they can't release it because of HIPAA, but he's been in there since like February. He's just been one of those that's been really sick.
All right, well, let's do this. So we'll at least have him on the docket. And then Robert Guyana, if you'll get a release from your client, you probably have an easier time speaking to the nurse, okay?
Okay.
All right, so Norma, let's call this for the first week in April.
I'll do April 8th.
All right, thank you. We'll see you then.
Thanks, Judge.
All right. And Norma, have you had contact with Alfonso Otero?
Judge, he's not set till 1:30 this afternoon, Judge.
Okay, thank you. And Kevin Owens?
Yes, Judge, I'm here.
Hi. I do believe your case is going to have to be recalled. My understanding is that there is an evaluation that's been completed. Norma, when are we going to see Mr. Owens back?
I have to get with Angela, Judge, to see how long that's going to take. I know there was a second one that was supposed to be done. I just don't know when it's going to be ready.
All right. Mr. Owens, there's nothing we can do with your case right now because you have an evaluation pending. Norma, can you move this to mid-April so we don't lose track of Mr. Owens?
Yes, ma'am. Just put it as a status.
Yes.
Okay.
And to the clerks in the back, could I have the file on Kevin Owens, please?
Yes, Judge.
I can do it on April 16th, Judge.
Okay. All right, Mr. Owens, we're going to come back on April 16th on your case, and hopefully by then we'll have an update on your evaluation status, okay?
Okay, thank you, Judge.
All right, do you have any questions about anything?
I didn't see my attorney, Arlene Gay, on the Zoom, so I would assume she would be informed on the court records, but if we could make sure.
Yes, she will know.
Okay, that, I guess that I have not had my second interview yet
Okay.
with a competency evaluator, so I mean, I can confirm that detail for you right now.
Okay, so
That's
you haven't had your interview yet?
No, I'm still waiting.
All right, we're gonna.
That's all I have for you.
All right, Norma, you know what? We need to call this back and Arlene Gay needs to be here because I'm being told an evaluation was done and it was agreed to. Now I'm being told that there's a second evaluation.
Correct.
And I don't know what that second evaluation will be for when both parties have agreed to the results of the first. So,
okay. Do you want me to call her in right now or do you want me to see if I can get her in? Okay, give me 1 second.
Thank you. And everyone, just give me a short break, please.
Okay, Judge, she'll be zooming in just a few minutes. Arlene, the judge just stepped away for just a few minutes. She'll be right back.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. I had myself on mute.
Hi, Arlene.
Hi, Judge.
Hi. Okay, so we should probably maybe, I was going to say go to a breakout room, but your client's hearing is a matter of public record in Judge Carruthers' court. So what I'm seeing is that there was an evaluation. Was he found incompetent or no?
There was, I'll answer yes, but with an explanation, Your Honor.
Okay, because my understanding is that it was agreed incompetency, but there's some sort of second evaluation.
No, it was not agreed. I would not describe it as an evaluation since they never met on Zoom or in person. So we had the hearing and all the judge ordered and the parties agreed, the state and Mr. Scharf and I, that he'd be reevaluated he would be evaluated by Dr. Scott. So right now, the matter is not set for trial in Judge Carruthers' court. It is set for evaluation. He asked for an expedited evaluation. So it's supposed to be done very quickly and come back to court very quickly when it's done to determine whether or not he will be found incompetent by Dr. Scott and whether or not this will proceed to trial or be agreed because he's been found incompetent or competent. We don't know. The evaluation, for lack of a better word, I don't believe followed the proper protocols since it wasn't done on Zoom or in person.
Okay, so do you have any idea when that second evaluation will occur?
The judge ordered it and that we're to have a hearing within 21 days. So
All
the
right.
judge.
Within 21 days?
Yes.
So Norma, 21 days from what date?
From our hearing, I think the hearing was on the 2nd. I believe so.
Okay. All right, then that's enough time. We're resetting your client's case in this court for April 16th so we can get an update on that evaluation.
Okay.
All right. Then, and your client is here. He was, queried whether or not you would know of the reset date. So Mr. Owens, your attorney is here and she knows that you're going to be brought back on April 16th. Do you need to speak with her?
Not at this time, Judge. No.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Owens. Thank you, Ms. Gay.
Thank you,
You're
Norma.
excused. And
Thank
Norma,
you.
can you let them know that Mr. Owens can go back? He's L9.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And what is the issue with Mr. Blanco?
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
Daniel Delacruz here. So I've talked to Tom and Jim Tochi, and essentially, I don't want to disrupt the good work that Mr. Tochi's done on the motions to revoke. So I'm not going to get in on that one. I'll just let that one proceed. However, I do understand that there will be some new cases or some cases that are pending now that won't be resolved. So I will most likely jump in on those.
All right. And which cases are those? That's the 2020 case cause numbers, correct?
I believe so, Your Honor, the drug cases.
All right. So,
Yes.
so when do you know whether or not you will be retained on these cases?
Oh, it should be this afternoon.
Okay. So Norma, on the 2020 cause numbers
Yes, ma'am.
for Mr. Blanco, let's recall those.
Okay.
And let's recall those for the week of March 22nd.
Okay.
Your Honor,
Yes.
can we do it the Friday right before? Because I will be starting back the McCain, it's a death capital case in the 379th. We'll be starting jury selection back on that day.
Oh, no, here's the thing. I'm just setting it for this date. If you're retained before then just let Ms. Ferguson know and it'll be taken off the docket for that day. But
Wonderful.
I'm giving you just some extra time.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. So what date can we do it, Norma?
The 24th?
All right. So we'll recall it, those two cases, the 2020 cases for March 24th. And Mr. Toshi, If Mr. De La Garza is retained, then of course you don't have to appear for those dates.
Okay.
Now, Mr. De La Garza, if there's nothing else, you're excused. If you want to see what happens with Mr. Blanco's cases, you're more than welcome to stay.
Thank you, Your Honor. I think I'll stick around. I think I'll stick around.
And so, Mr. Toshi, are you ready to proceed on Mr. Blanco or someone else?
Judge, well, no, I am prepared. Since the hearing that we had last week, I've not had any dialogue with Richard, so I don't know if he wishes to address the court, but certainly I'll let him make that decision. He is joined here today by his mother. I see her on your screen as Dorothy Garcia. I think she wants to speak to the court regarding Richard, but I'm not 100% on that either. Her and I communicated this morning, which is why she's here.
Okay, would
So
you
those
like to go to a breakout room with Mr. Blanco?
Yes, and maybe his mom too, just to find out if they would like to talk to the court.
Okay, then I'll send, before I send Mr. Blanco and his mom to court, to a breakout room with you, you have another person on the docket?
I do, Judge. I believe it's Mr. Spencer, and I've been chatting with Mr. Nisbet on that. I am certainly going to ask for a reset on that so I can obtain some discovery. But I would like to go back and at least give him an update on what's happening for today.
All right, so I'm going to send you to breakout room number 2 to speak with Mr. Spencer. When you finish speaking with Mr. Spencer, have him come back to the main room. And then I will send you to a breakout room with Mr. Blanco and his mother.
Yes, ma'am.
Norma, any update on Loretta Hewitt?
Give me 1 second, Judge.
Thank you. And Mr. Blanco, Miss Susanna Ovalle will be led into the room when it's time to hear her testimony and not before. Mr. Rios, we're waiting for your attorney. So as soon as your attorney comes in, we'll take up your matter, okay?
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Excuse me, did you know if it was Acevedo, my lawyer?
Your attorney is listed as Loretta Hewitt. Did you hire Mr. Acevedo?
Well, yes, I had Saul Acevedo, but I think he passed away with the COVID, but
No, we will have to see who your attorney is because he's not listed as your attorney.
okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I'll check on that, Judge.
Thank you.
Judge, I send you a chat as well.
All right, Mr. Toshi, you're back.
Yes, Judge.
All right, and your client, Mr. Spencer, stayed in breakout room number 2.
I told him that someone would tell him he was free to leave. Should I not have told him that? I'm sorry.
No, have him to come back to the main room so we
Okay.
can give him instructions.
Okay. Let me go
All right,
check.
thanks. All right, Mr. Spencer. Can you unmute, please?
Okay, yes, ma'am.
All right, so Mr. Spencer, the motion to withdraw that was filed by Linda Molina has been granted. So as you know, your new attorney is Mr. Toshi, and Mr. Toshi was just appointed today. So he needs some time to prepare for your case. All right, so Mr. Toshi, when do you want this recall back? How much time do you need?
Judge, I would ask for at least 30 days. It's going to probably take half that time to obtain discovery, maybe a little longer, but I should be pretty up to speed on the facts of his case within that 30-day window.
All right, and did you want to come back sooner? I don't know if you all had a chance to confer on the application for PR bond.
We did, and my understanding and looking at the procedural history, it appears to have been on a PR bond at one point, and he wanted me to ask the court if they would consider releasing him on another PR bond, which I guess I'm doing right now. I don't know a whole lot about his history with the court, though, Judge, so I'm kind of at a bit of a disadvantage.
All right, Mr. Spencer.
Yes, ma'am.
Because you were on a PR bond before, it would probably be best if your attorney had a chance to look into things. Because the question I'm going to want to know is, if you were on a PR bond before, why are you currently in custody, right?
Well, I could tell you.
No, here's the thing. I will take what you're saying to me at face value. However, I'll need some documentation to back up what you're saying.
My phone was broken and stolen.
Okay. All right. That's something that your attorney will have to get with me. So Norma, on Mr. Thompson.
Yes, ma'am.
Can we recall this in 30 days?
Yes. I can do April 6th.
All right. So we're going to come back on April 6th. And on that day, we'll hear your application for a PR bond and whatever else that the state and defense wishes the court to hear. All right. Norma, can you let them know that Mr. Spencer can go back?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And next, Mr. Toshi, did you need to speak with Mr. Blanco?
Yes, and his mother, just to find out if they wish to address the court.
All right. And I can let you know that Miss Susanna Avale is in the waiting room. I'm not going to allow her into the main room because of the issues with her when she showed up to court. So whenever you're ready for her testimony, we can bring her into the main room.
Okay.
So Mr. Blanco, I'm going to send you to breakout room number 1. And Mr. Toshi, I'll send you to 1. And Miss Dorothy Garcia, I'll send you to breakout room number 1. And Miss Garcia, I'm going to remind you, this is not a family visit. This is just for your attorney to speak with you. Sean Dawes.
Yes, John, I'm right here.
All right. Whenever your screen is like off, I think you're not there, so I don't call your case. So you've had in contact with Miss Montoya Callahan?
I called a number. That person said first it was a crank call, and then call was returned, and that person said essentially there's no one there by that name.
Okay.
So this is where we are.
All right. Okay, we're going to go on the record. Court is calling 2020 CR 0810, State of Texas versus Montoya Callahan. Can I have parties announced for the record, please, for the state?
Alexandra Williamson.
For the defense?
Sean Keen Dawes.
All right. And I'm sorry, Brenda, off the record. Has anyone checked and made sure that Miss or Mr. Callahan is not in custody?
It's actually Miss, yes.
Miss.
Mhm.
Because I'm seeing where she was arrested on a misdemeanor DWI case. So
Right,
let's
she had bonded out.
Oh, she bonded out on that?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Then we are back on the record. Can I have parties announced for the record again for the state?
Alexandra Williamson.
For the defense?
Sean Keen Dawes.
All right. This case was originally set for March 5th. The defendant was a no-show. So the defense asked if I would recall the case without entering a ruling on the state's oral motion. So it's recalled today for March 8th. Hearing was set at 9 a.m. It is now 11:55 a.m. Deputy Mejia and Deputy Laura, has there been a Montoya Callahan in the courtroom at all today?
No, Your Honor, she has not.
And for the record, she has not been on the Zoom screen either. Mr. Dawes, have you had any contact with your client?
No, I made attempts. Like the first time I was hung up on, I called back, said it's a prank call. Then someone called me back actually last night at 8 p.m. Oh, I got a call from this number. So I explained, and they said, no, there's no one here by that name. But prior to that, early in the day, I sent a text to that number explaining that what happened on Friday, there was a no-show, and it has been recalled for today. That, of course, the consequence if they don't show up, one will be issued. So I did the best I could. There's something going on there, but I don't know.
Okay. All right, state.
Yes, Your Honor. The state would request that you forfeit her bond and issue a warrant for her arrest.
And
Right,
Judge, before you do that, though, like I said, I think there's something going on. I don't know. Really, I don't know anything. I would just ask. I mean, she's out on bond. She made a bond on the DWI, so I mean, obviously there's no violation of a bond. But the thing is, my concern is whether she actually had notice. So I would really, out of an abundance of caution, just if you could just give me a 30-day reset. And because my concern is she didn't have notice of this. I cannot say that I contacted her and told her about this.
All right, and what I can say, and I'll say this for the record, and I've said it numerous times before. The settings that defendants receive are settings that were sent out by the system pre-COVID. Now, when defendants actually appear at a hearing and on Zoom, then the court will give a setting for those defendants that the court sees face-to-face or through Zoom. So your client would have received notice of the hearing the same way she would have received notice pre-COVID. This is an old case. It was indicted in 2020. Here we are in 2021. Nobody knows where your client is. I received a violation report that your client, who out of this court is on bond for burglary of a habitation with intent to commit assault, picks up a DWI case. So that the only contact that I've had with your client at all has been noticed that she's picked up a new case. So I'm going to grant the state's motion. I'm going to forfeit the bond, remand her without bond. If you're able to get in touch with your client, then the court will reconsider.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Is there anything else from either side?
No, Your Honor.
With that,
Nothing
we'll
from the
close-
fence.
All right, thank you. With that, the court will close the record.
Okay, may I be excused?
Yes,
Okay, thank you, Judge.
you're welcome. All right, Mr. Toshi, you're back.
Yes, Judge.
All right, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you need to go back and get your client and that other person out of that room.
I told them to, okay.
I'll
So,
close the
yeah,
room, but they need to they can't be in that room
Okay.
by
I told them
themselves.
to come back. I'll go back over.
All right, thank you.
Judge, I can't get back. I'm not finding my invite.
Oh, no, I'm closing the room.
Ooh.
Okay, are all parties ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
Judge.
All right, the court is calling 2019 CR 0192 and 2019 CR 0193, State of Texas versus Richard Blanco. I've got to have parties announced for the record, please, for the state,
Tom Nisbet for the state.
for the defense.
James Tochi, Judge.
And are you Mr. Blanco? I need you to unmute.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we're proceeding by video because of the pandemic. The court will note that on March 3rd, 2021, the contested motion to revoke in both of these cases was heard by video. And when I say by video, I mean with the court in the courtroom, the court on YouTube. The defendant was physically present in the courtroom. The defense was physically present in the courtroom, and the state was physically present in the courtroom. Is there any objections with this, the court's sentencing taking place by video? State?
None.
Defense?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Blanco, do you have any objection with this sentencing of proceeding by video?
No.
I'm sorry?
No.
All right. So, Ms. Ferguson?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. When we were in the courtroom, my understanding is that Mr. Blanco did not wish to sign certain documents. So, Mr. Blanco, are you willing to sign certain documents today? And those documents would be the one that is your agreement to proceed by video. And the court hasn't made up its mind what it will do, but you'll also need to sign a trial court certification in each of these cause numbers. Are you willing to do that? Yes or no?
No, ma'am.
All right. Then what we will do is Mr. Blanco will need to appear in court. And we'll have Mr. Blanco appear in court.
Can we do it this afternoon, Judge? I'm in the office today.
All right. It depends on if everybody's available to be in court this afternoon. And actually, we can't do it this afternoon because this is not one of the days where the court is allowed to have in-person hearings. So it would have to be on Wednesday or Thursday.
And does it have to be an afternoon?
How many witnesses do you have?
Just his mother at this point, Judge.
Okay. Norma,
Yes, ma'am.
are we able to do this in the morning? And I say in the morning, like maybe at 11 instead of the afternoon on a Wednesday or Thursday.
We can possibly do it on, we have a contested on Wednesday for sure in the afternoon, Judge.
Okay. But for this one, we want to put it at 11. And Mr. Toshi is telling me that it will not, that he doesn't have that many witnesses. He just has Ms. Garcia as a witness.
Okay, that's fine. We'll do it on Wednesday.
All right, so we'll come back Wednesday at 11. And we will see you then, Mr. Blanco, and we'll see you in person on Wednesday at 11.
Okay.
All right, Norma, can you let them know that they can take Mr. Blanco back?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Judge, may
Yes.
I visit with you on Mr. Spencer's case briefly?
Yes.
And maybe Mr. Nisbet as well.
All right, just give me a moment. Let me write this in the file.
Sure.
Just give me one moment, please. Okay. Let me open the breakout rooms. All right, Mr. Rios, don't go to a breakout room. Just wait here. All right, and Mr. Toshi, if you'll go to breakout room number 2. Oh, he went to 1. If you go to breakout room number 2, please. And Tom, if you'll meet us in 2, please.
Yes, Your Honor. 2.
All right, Norma, on Mr. Rios, let's do this.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's recall Mr. Rios for this afternoon. Mr. Rios, we're going to figure out who your attorney is and where your attorney, what happened, okay?
Okay, ma'am.
All right, so we'll bring you back this afternoon.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, you're welcome.
Have a
And
great
Norma,
day.
you too. And Norma, if you can let them know that he can go back. And then we'll be waiting for Alfonso Otero this afternoon. And Norma, on James Toshi's client, Mr. Spencer,
Yes, ma'am.
we're gonna need an evaluation done on him.
Okay.
So if you can send that to me and I'll sign it. That way he can avoid the informal inquiry.
Okay.
All right, guys. And with that, we're going to take our break. So I will see you all back this afternoon. And Alexandra, thank you for reminding us it was International Women's Day. This is what I mean about women multitasking. Alexandra sent all the women on this Zoom, Happy International Women's Day. But the only person who sent that was Alexandra. Oh, look at Marcus trying to get brownie points. He's like, did you call in for your mom's medicine? I called, Marcus. But back to the fact that Alexandra was the only one who says Happy International Women's Day. Just throwing it out there to all of the people who are not women on the screen. So we'll see what happens during the break, if that's rectified or remedied. I don't know. Brenda, they say sometimes with men, you got to spell things out like they can't read between the lines.
Exactly.
So, all right. So I'll see you guys back this afternoon. Have a good one. Have a good lunch.
Judge, I thought it was just a day for international women, and y'all are not international. I misunderstood the day.